um, to try to multi. Let's see if I can figure it out. It is called. Uh, I might get this wrong. I might make some mistakes here. And if I do, this live stream might be canceled. It might be prematurely ended. Let's try that again. Okay. Chat like this. Live chat. So, what are we talking about? Talking about. I was rudely interrupted because my data on the phone, the data storage, the storage of the phone, the amount of stuff that you can store on the phone was limited. And I got about 20 minutes through, and then I was rudely interrupted by a message that said, your phone storage is depleted. So, let me think about this. There's going to be a part one. It's going to upload at some point. And that part one is going to say there's two ways of approaching politics. You can approach politics through the lens of I want a community, I want to build towards something, I want to bring people together. Politics, and maybe equally legitimately, who's to say the answer is? But you can also view politics through an object orientation. You can view it as something that you want to achieve for the thing itself, for the object, for the vision, for the image. Maybe you could say that the sociality of politics is more Dionysian, that the objectivity of politics is more Apollonian. You could certainly say that. But these are two ways of viewing politics, and maybe they're both necessary. Maybe you need both of these things to achieve political objectives. You need the people who are socially focused, and you need the people who are goal oriented. I guess the problems come. I think this is a big problem. You could describe it as like a feminine masculine divide. The problem comes for me with how we define that friend enemy distinction. Who is in the group, who is not in the group. And there's different levels of um, hierarchy, I suppose, within a social grouping, that some people are going to be at the top, some people are going to be at the bottom. Um, and it's an interesting question of the exceptions, what kind of rules you have. If you say, well, in order to be in the military, for example, you have to pass basic training. But what if you're a genius scientist? You can make these amazing weapons. Well, the standards of group entry for the military are that you have to do this many push-ups and this many pull-ups and this many sit-ups. But if you're a genius scientist, they might say you get to skip that process of initiation. You get to skip those standards and you get to go to the top. Whereas for other people, they might say, well, you're not special, you don't provide anything of value, and so you're going to be at the bottom, and if you can't meet those standards, tough luck. Those are the standards. Or the standards for entry into a school, you might have to have certain SAT scores, but if perhaps you did something amazing, something spectacular, some form of extracurricular, maybe they soften the standards for you. They change the bar. They lower the bar. So this is it's a weird dynamic. Do you want to be a leader? Do you want to be a follower? Do you want to be at the top or the bottom? What are you capable of? And what group do you feel at home in when you have a situation of fractionalization and polarization? That everyone, I remember the hatred of Nickelback, that Nickelback was this popular band and that Nickelback was hated on. I remember George W. Bush being hated on. I remember Trump being hated on. I don't remember these things being hated on in the same way with Obama or Bill Clinton or something like that. And I think that is because of the relationship of the media at large, and academia, and public schooling. So if you're in a public school, the teachers union has a political affiliation, and it's not for the Republican Party. So, um, this is how I perceived things. And so from that position, you're looking at this polarization and this hatred, and you're asking, how do we get around that? Um, how is it possible that we can enter into union with another, and that we can learn to trust one another? Is it through this polarization? Do we ride the wave of polarization and say, yes, I will be a goth extremist. I will be a fan. To me, these musical groups resemble political groups, and I think that was more the case in ancient Rome. You hear football hooliganism, that I'm going to support FC Bayern, I'm going to support Madrid, I'm going to support a football team, and I'm going to be violent toward people who don't sufficiently support that team. I mean, we can see how that's silly. We can see how being a football hooligan gives a person a sense of purpose, a sense of community. But is that good? And do I fit into that? No, I'm not a football hooligan. So, where do I fit into these things? What kind of group? And if I was to create the ideal group, what would it look like? What would it be? What would its beliefs be? What would the common glue that holds the group together? What kind of group could I be a part of? And how does my group relate to other groups? These are questions that I don't think I'm just asking. I think everybody's asking these sorts of questions. Unless you already are in a group and you're simply promoting your group. You feel you've already found the situation and you're ready to just evangelize it. So I wonder, in my position, this lack of groupness, on what level of responsibility do I have? Is this merely a universal phenomenon that no one is allowed to be part of groups anymore because of polarization? Or is this something particular to me? Is it a mindset that I have? Is it some kind of belief that I have, that I look at a group and I say, well, that group's not good enough. That group doesn't fulfill my needs. That group isn't impressive enough. It's not intellectual enough. It's not deep enough. And therefore, I cannot be a part of that group. I cannot be satisfied in that group. I am going to engage in a little bit of skepticism, self skepticism here. Um, if that attitude is rooted in reality, or if it's rooted in this kind of unfulfillable feeling of, this thing is not good enough, this kind of perfectionism, that nobody is quite good enough, um, and that therefore we have to keep flitting from thing to thing, from group to group, and never really settle down in any particularity, never and thing. Hello, you're a really interesting fellow. Thank you, Flubit. If you're interested in the road trip, it will be ending in a couple of weeks. So when we think about this internal dynamic, the perfectionism of groups and dogmas and ideologies, and do we hold, and do I hold, some kind of responsibility for not joining a group on the basis of some kind of collective hypergamy? Hypergamy is a term that's used to describe patterns of mating in which individuals seek out those with higher social status than themselves. And so, rather than forming these kind of mutually exclusive pair bondings monogamously. There's all these people at the bottom who are trying to be at the top. They're trying to hyper gamo, they're hyper marry upward, rather than marrying at their level. And so as a result, you get a lot of people who are kicked out of the dating pool, so to speak, and left to the side. And that's, people refer to those people as incels. I think celibacy is not the point here. I think that ignores the root of the dynamic is sociality, sociality, um, and loneliness and social hierarchy and value, that these are simply low status males, and it doesn't really have to do with the question of celibacy or not, because that question can be, that can be addressed monetarily, but that's what people want. People want to feel valued, and I think most people, you cannot derive a sense of value socially from a monetary interaction that addresses the biological celibacy. You can't, at a deeper level, feel socially validated, feel that I'm a person of worth, I'm a person of value, people want me, I have a certain status in the social hierarchy. That's what most people are seeking in their romantic lives, I think, ultimately, besides, partnership and companion. Okay, let's see if this is a better connection. Um, yeah, so what I was saying is that this hypergamy that operates um, romantically excludes a huge number of people from achieving these kinds of intimate relationships. It takes people who want to be paired, who want to be socially integrated, and it sort of leaves them in the lurch and with no options, that they are unwanted and unvalued. And there's not much for them to do except engage in fantasy and simulation, and try to simulate that feeling. I mean, there was, I guess, this funny trend that still is around of like my waifu, my 2D waifu, my anime girl, I've chosen her. And it's always strange to me to think that people buy into this sort of thing, but it's almost like the irony perhaps becomes reality after a certain point. And so this is what's happening in like a romantic sense. But then as far as like politics and groups and religions work, I think that there also seems to be some kind of hypergamy operating. And I don't think hypergamy is actually inherently evil, but I do think it has consequences. And in the case of collective hypergamies, where you're searching for the perfect group, the group that is sophisticated and smart and powerful and well established, but also new and exciting, and you're putting all these expectations on this group of people or this political organization. um, you're kind of creating this impossible Disney fantasy in the same way that, a woman might seek a guy who's a billionaire and he's also a bodybuilder and he's also a family man. He's extremely loyal, but he's also a player and he's very sweet and caring, but he's also rough and a criminal, this sort of 50 shades of gray fantasy that people have. Or the man like looking for the 10 out of 10 model who's also a perfect wife, but she's also, very seductive. You're looking for all these qualities that perhaps you can get one or two of them, but to expect all of them and then to demand them and to say that I will settle for nothing less, it's to kind of put yourself in this unwinnable situation where you can't actually, you can't advance toward any goal because you're stuck banging your head against the wall saying, why can't I get this perfect woman? I deserve this perfect woman. I need this perfect woman or man, and I can't have them, and therefore I'll just be alone and suffer and be unhappy. Rather than saying, well, there's a lot of imperfect people in the world, and maybe if I learn tolerance, and maybe if I learn to withstand and suffer imperfection, maybe I will not let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and maybe I will be capable of having some modicum of partnership and or marriage or whatever it is people are looking for. Um, it might not be perfect, but it will be something. And I'm wondering if I apply this mentality to groups, to religions, and to clubs, um, and people in general. This kind of perfectionism, which, if you don't have it at some point, if there's no idealism, if there's no critical judgment, ultimately things do kind of devolve into the lowest common denominator. Then, when you remove the fanatic pressure of perfectionism, all you have left is this kind of Dionysian frenzy and chaos and populism, and it ultimately just whoever appeals to the base senses well enough, whoever has the hardest drum beat and the most violent warriors, and just very base and primitive, that would be what would win out. And we see in the world with technology that that strategy is flawed. It's problematic because it's very easily overturned, and it's very easily negated by people who are more technical, people who are more perfectionists. So the question is, like, how do you come to that happy medium where you don't allow yourself to be sucked into the lowest common denominator, but you also don't allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good? Where do you find that guidance? How do you get that clear thinking to be able to identify it? Because even if someone gave you the correct answer to this question, you might not recognize it. You might not agree with them. You might not accept it because you yourself are not thinking clearly. So no one else can sort of force you to think logically. No one can tell you to think rationally. It's something that you have to, that perspective is something you have to develop in yourself. And this question of authority, unless you're born into a church where you don't really have a choice, if you're seeking out authority, if you're trying to find who to follow, in that process, you kind of have to develop your rational faculties to at least be able to discover, who is thinking the right way, who is thinking clearly, who is thinking rationally, who is thinking unemotionally. And that's difficult. That's a difficult process because, maybe the person who's the most rational is inaccessible. And I think a lot of the times for myself personally, I would rather follow someone who's a little bit crazy, a little bit sporadic, a little bit angry, a little bit emotional, a little bit of impulsive. I'd rather follow somebody like that, but who is accessible, right? Because in terms of this question of leadership and authority, we want to be close to those who we are a fan of. We go to a concert because, yeah, I like listening to Justin Bieber, but I actually love Justin Bieber so much that I'm going to pay possibly hundreds of dollars to fly out in a plane and pay for one of his concerts, get a hotel there and everything, and meet other Justin Bieber fans, because I want to be in the presence of Justin Bieber because he is so his vibes are so good, and I just love him so much that I want to be in his presence. We always want to be in the presence of our leaders. That's one of the reasons the Obama rallies worked so well, and the reason that the Trump rallies work so well is because people want to be in the presence of their leaders, of their authority figure. And so if there's this kind of ambiguous text out there that, 12 rules of life, or some kind of template or tablet or series of commandments that tells you how to live your life in the best way, but it's abstract and it's inaccessible and it's impersonal and it's objective and it's rule based, and it just gives you a bunch of data and information, but it doesn't give you a relationship. It doesn't give you a feeling of intimacy. Then a lot of people are going to feel very left in the lurch. They're going to feel like that's a very masculine presence which sort of looms over them and tells them what to do, but never kind of pats them on the head and gives them a hug and that sort of thing. So that is another question of how do we combine the desire for authority, and I'm seeing I'm having some lag here, but hopefully I'm still coming through clearly. I mean, I was thinking of pausing for a moment and allowing it to catch up. Okay, I think it's caught up. So anyway, what I was saying is that we need to somehow balance the masculine authority, which tells and orders and makes you do this and tells you to do that. We need to balance that with this kind of feminine caring. Light Yagami Tulpa says hello, hello, Light Yagami Tulpa. If you're interested in the road trip, follow me and mention me on Twitter at JOKKULL because it is ending in a couple weeks. Bingo ba bingo, 2 hour live stream time. Oh boy. Well, we don't know if we're gonna make it the whole 2 hours. Michael Pamulis, so you are telling me that your facial hair just grows like that? Yes, my facial hair grows in a goatee, and my whiskers, my mustache, is wispy and blonde. I have like 20 mustache hairs, and they're like polar bear hairs. They're white. You can't see them, but I am growing this goatee here. You know, hopefully at the end of this road trip, we'll have a nice shave. We'll get ourselves cleaned up. We'll look a little less wild, a little less homeless, and maybe we'll settle down for a month, you know, the month of June, July, perhaps into August. And then we might head off again, you know, we might head off again. I think, but we probably do need to take a break. I've already gone across from coast to coast twice, and I've tried to visit everybody. And I do intend to visit everybody. I intend to visit everybody who wants to visit me. I have not rejected anybody, not a single person. And there's a lot of people on the internet. And look, to me, you know, I do interviews with people. And if I did an interview with myself and I didn't know myself, right? Let's say I just see this face staring at me and I'm somehow it's an alternate universe where I'm not conscious of what I look like or I forget what I look like and I just see myself, I'd be like, who is this crazy guy? Can you make an ASMR Turkish barber video when you finally shave? That's gonna cost you. That's for Patreon subscribers only get to see that. That is not for regular consumption. I've put out a lot of silly videos in the past. I put a lot of videos that I thought were funny personally, but which were not funny to other people. I think sometimes the most comedic things I do are it's like the unintentional weirdness that comes out of a 2 hour live stream rather than just trying to be outrageous and trying to be funny. People don't seem to appreciate that as much as I do because it's like this very expressive, emotive, like I'm going to really try. It's almost in the process of seduction when you talk to someone and you say, you know, oh, you're so beautiful, like I would do anything for you. You know, this kind of desperation doesn't really produce the intended effect. Whereas when you sort of in a roundabout way, you just kind of you imply certain things. It's very casual. I think that can be more impactful, and I think maybe that's the way it works with humor. Is that as much as I might desire to be silly, to be carefree, to let go, to be casual. My funniest moments, the moments that people appreciate the most, come in the midst as an interjection, as a peripheral comment to a otherwise serious 2 hour live stream. What's up, Ken? Hello, American Zarathustra. We're just doing a little video. Light Yagami, the Stauffenberg interview was funny. Yeah, it was funny. I did, but that's illustrative of what I was saying in a way because he wasn't trying to be funny, and I wasn't really trying to be extremely funny. I mean, I was throwing some humor into the mix, but he was being deadly serious, and I think that's what made it funny. I think true humor has always some level of seriousness to it. I don't think true humor is just sort of just this like ecstatic Dionysian descent into craziness. I don't think pure craziness is funny. I think actually seriousness, you know, the dry humor is the most funny. But at the same time, hello Gibson, how are you doing? At the same time, I have described before this distinction between comedy, humor, and raucous, joyous laughter. I think there is this sort of thing at 3 a.m. you're super tired, you've been driving for 14 hours and you're with your friends and you're just in ridiculous situations. You're like, "Oh my gosh, we left the credit card at the restaurant 4 hours away." And you just start laughing. "Hello, shalom, Arya. How are you doing, my friend?" I haven't done a live stream in a long time. And what I'm finding now is that almost everyone in the live chat I've met in real life. And I have to tell you guys, that is such a because I see your faces in my head. Being serious is more funny. Going actually crazy is funnier than pretending. I'm gonna have to read that one again. Bingo. Uh, Humor is found in the space between expectations and reality. Okay, I think that there's something legitimate to that. Being serious is more funny. Going actually crazy is funnier than pretending to be crazy. Okay, yeah, because if you're seriously crazy, then that kind of makes sense. All right, I agree with a lot of these takes. These are decent takes. Um, I hope that the lag isn't getting too bad. Every time it starts lagging, I sort of like slow. I want to like slow down and give it time to catch up. I don't know. I don't think that's the way the data actually works because it doesn't matter how fast I'm talking. It's still the same bit rate, like it's still the same amount of bits and bytes being uploaded to the live stream. So I don't think that really matters. But we are just having a conversation, and I think the ideas we've been talking about is the hypergamy. This is the Jockle friendship experience. Yeah, that's really what it's all about. Is just friendship. I mean, to me, listen, I think there's a personality type that really doesn't need friends, and in fact, there are people who don't know what friendship is because they are so isolated and they're happy to be isolated. There are monks and there are I remember reading Camille Paglia, her sexual persona, and she wrote, or maybe it might have been in an interview, but she wrote that essentially, in order to write that book, she had to isolate herself with the discipline of, a Catholic monk or a Catholic priest. And that, I think there is a value to that. There's a value to people who can just kind of isolate. There have been periods of my life, I would not say like weeks or months, where this has been very helpful, but there have been periods where, I'll hang out with people on the week, and then on the weekend, I'll have this big contrast where it's like I've just been going, 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 and seeing people all the time. And then all of a sudden, it's like there's no one around. I'm completely alone, alone in a dark room. And I just start writing. And I've written some of my best stuff and I'll just like write, 10 pages, 20 pages. Um, in a very short amount of time because I'm hyper focusing all the distractions of sociality. I'm isolated from that. So I don't think it's a terrible thing. I think there is a purpose to having that quiet time, that isolated time to work on artwork, for example. So I don't think it's of no value. And I think that some of the best works of art are made in that sense. Dark Summer, Moral Outrage Prophet. Yes, Dark Summer. I have met many a dark summer. I've had many a dark summer in my life. But I don't know that I thrive in the dark summer. Interruption is the enemy of art. I agree with that. Dark summers. On your travels, are you a Shrek or a donkey? I'd like to think I'm Shrek. I'd like to think I'm Shrek, but I think it's a mixture. To me, what does Shrek represent? Shrek represents this stubbornness. Shrek does not want to leave his shack. Shrek is someone who wants to remain in his environment and he does not want to make friends. Shrek has very low self esteem. He's a big guy, but he ultimately wants Fiona. He ultimately does want a princess. And he's forced into this warrior role to rescue her. But Shrek has a lot of problems. He's like an onion and he has a lot of layers, and it's very difficult for him to put himself out there. And he has to be kind of kicked into this by Donkey. And what's funny about Donkey is Shrek is a very stubborn person. And so, in some ways, you'd think that Shrek would be Donkey and Donkey would be Shrek. But Donkey is stubborn in the sense that he's forcing Shrek to get out of his comfort zone. And so, who am I more in this journey? Am I more Shrek or Donkey? I think I'm both. I think we all have the duality of Shrek and Donkey within us. And for myself, there have been periods where I have been Shrek. Like today, I was feeling very Shrek-like. Today, I was just kind of doing my work. I'm alone right now. I was just doing my work, and I was feeling very lonely and was feeling anxious, and I was upset. I really was. I was upset about things that are haunting me, problems in my life, things I want to resolve, things I want to work through, and I was just like, this isn't working out. And so I was feeling very Shrekish. And, Donkey is the guy who comes along and says, come on, let's go on a road trip. And I've done that to people in this trip, and I've invited people to come on the road trip. And, there is that the Mormon man from Wyoming, who I picked him up, and in that moment, I was feeling kind of donkey-ish. I was like, let's go, let's have an adventure. But eventually, I found that I was the Shrek to his donkey because as soon as he got in that car, he was like, let's go to Vidavoo and let's go to my son's house and let's go to Denver and I'm flying to the Philippines. And so he had all these different ideas that, I was feeling Shrekish. I was feeling like, wow, I'm out of my comfort zone here. And now he's taking me for the ride. I'm not taking him for the ride. He's taking me for the ride. So, the duality of Shrek and Donkey, it strikes down the heart, the center of every man's heart. We all have a donkey on one shoulder and a Shrek on another shoulder. So it's a great movie with Mike Myers. Is that who plays Shrek with his Scottish accent? Mike Myers, and then is it? I'm not even gonna guess who Donkey is. I really don't know who the actor is who plays Donkey. I mean, we have a couple of guesses there, but maybe I can get some help from the audience who played Donkey. Um, oh man, just interesting things to think about. And then you've got Fiona. Fiona's this woman, and I think she initially looks like a princess, and then she turns into an ogre at the end. And so it's this tale about a woman who presents herself as being all prim and proper and skinny, and then she learns body positivity. I think Shrek is really about body positivity. I think it's about accepting being plus sized and having green skin, and so it's about having a different skin color and a different body size in a society ruled by Lord Farquaad, who is a short man, and it's a very warrior-centered film. Lord Farquaad, he does not deserve to rule the kingdom because he does not have the stature. So there is this hypergamous, warrior-based ethos running through the center of Shrek. And the character of Donkey as the loyal steed is the comedic element, who really pushes forward the comedy. Um, he is this joker. He is Loki. He is this agent of chaos. He's come to stir up the swamp. The swamp is this, Dionysian muck. Shrek, he's just stuck in his swamp. And he says, there's no women for me out there. Shrek is an incel. Don't feel bad about how you look unless you are short. Well, don't feel bad about being short either. That's, I'm just telling you, I'm just doing some esoteric analysis of the Shrek film. I'm not telling you. I think short people are great. We love our short people. I'm short, okay. Um, we're all short in one way or another. We all come up short. We're not all of us can be tall in every respect. There's physical tallness, then there's the tallness of your courage, the tallness of your honor, the tallness of your loyalty. We can't all be tall. Some of us are just short, and that's okay. But we have interruption, had to turn off an alarm. But yeah, so Shrek is an incel, and he's stuck in his swamp, and he's saying to himself, like, I can't leave this swamp because nobody's gonna love me. There's nobody out there. I look at me, I'm an ogre, I'm ugly. And then this kind of crazy donkey comes along, and he says, no, Shrek, you can do it. I believe in you, Shrek. You're awesome, man. Let's go. We're gonna save the princess. You gotta help. Um, Donkey reminds me very much of the character from Mulan the Dragon, and this is a demonic figure. This is a messenger of the gods. The gods, when they send their messengers, they do not send, a beautiful woman. They do not send a heroic knight. They send like a little lizard, or they send like a donkey, or they send some kind of cherub, some kind of fat baby with wings. They send these weird little messengers to give us a wake up call, to tell us, you don't have to live life in a swamp. You're actually not so ugly that no one would love you or no one would want you. There's actually, appearances can be deceptive. You can look at a woman who's an Instagram model, but she has her own insecurities and she has her own problems and she has her own feelings of being an ogre, of being unlovable, of being untouchable, of being unwanted. And if you can recognize the universality of that, beyond the physical, right, then you can see that your imperfections are not that much greater than anyone else's imperfections. And some people are just better at dealing with them than others. I think the greatest thing that holds us back is not our flaws, it's not our physical inabilities or our mental slowness or anything like that. It's nothing that an IQ test or physical test can measure. But the greatest thing that holds us back is our swamp. It is the reflective pool that we look in. Shrek the movie is evil. Well, I don't know. I think Shrek. I wouldn't be so black and white with it. I think we can learn a lot of valuable lessons from Shrek. But the character Shrek may also be evil. I don't know about that. He doesn't seem like a evil guy to me. He seems like a confused guy. I used wart mole remover. Do I have warts and moles on my face? Do you see some warts and some moles? I look a little bit sweaty. I look a little bit oily and greasy, but I don't see a lot of. Maybe on my nose. I think on my nose I might have a wart or mole developing here. It's not super noticeable yet, but maybe we'll get it cut off at some point. I think those things just tend to regrow, don't they? Those warts and moles. What are we to do? A wart and mole on the nose. But what I was saying is that we get this reflective pool that we look at, and we stare at, and we say, "Oh, I'm unlovable." But really, there's something that each of us can do. There's some princess we have to save. You get like a few drops. It's acid from a plant. Okay, interesting. I have never heard of this, and I don't know if I am I. Are you referring to my nose here, to the little dot on my nose? Should I put plant acid on my nose? Would that make me look 10 times more handsome and improve my life by a millionfold? Is that what would happen? Is that what I should do? I mean, you could deliver it to me. If you want to hand deliver it, I'll come to your house. I'll take your plant acid. I'll put it on my face. We can make a video about it. So just give me a ring. Just uh, JOKKULL on Twitter. Follow and mention me, and we'll get it going. Um, I find that to be interesting as well. Favorite road trip moment so far? There's a lot of movements. There's driving into the LA Valley at night was pretty spectacular. Um, Another road trip moment, upstate New York, northeast Arkansas, driving from the desert into the forest was pretty incredible because it went from a hot desert into a winter wonderland in a matter of minutes, basically, and it was just like surreal. As long as your house isn't in Canada. Um, yeah, other than that, I mean, the Sierra Nevada, hiking over there, most beautiful states. I mean, I'm describing them to you right now, the most beautiful states. I think, Sierra Nevada in California is extremely beautiful. I think that Northeast Arizona is extremely beautiful. I think that upstate New York is extremely beautiful. I think that, I mean, there's beautiful parts of every state, I guess. I don't think there's any state that is devoid of beauty. Even the salt flats of Nevada, I found to have their own type of beauty, especially since you can. travel quite fast on them. That's something beautiful. It's a speed. Um, so, besides that, I mean, Key West was extremely beautiful in its own way. Um, is Dylan doing all right? You know what? Dylan is doing all right. Thank you for asking. Um, I feel, what it was it called? Like mirror neurons or something like that. I feel good that you care about someone that I care about. So we all care, and everybody's doing all right. Everyone is a okay. Everyone is fine. People just get busy, and you know what? YouTube is something that I've been pretty frequent on recently, but I haven't always been frequent on YouTube. There have been periods where I didn't upload for a month or two or whatever, and then other people take a break for a year, and other people, leave YouTube because they don't find it's a good use of their time. What's next for the Jockle universe after the road trip? That's a good question. I'm supposed to move in with people, but two of the people who asked me to move in with them both have changed plans. And one of the things I've been working on in this road trip is when people do something that disappoints me, not taking it personally, because most of the time when plans fall through, it is not a result of malicious intent. It's not the result of somebody saying, I don't like you, I don't value you, I don't respect you. Usually it's just like it didn't work out. And just learning to be forgiving of people and accepting and not take it personally. So I've been trying to set myself up with people who can help support me because I need a lot of support. I don't need money. People have offered me money. I'm happy to I'm happy to sleep in your house and I'm happy to eat your food. But having USD, I don't need a lot as people might have seen on this road trip. I pretty much will eat anything except beans and melted cheese, and I pretty much will sleep on the floor or in my trunk, or I'm a pretty low maintenance kind of guy, and I've pretty much always been that way as far as material things. So I don't need a lot of money. The only thing I would need money for is I'd like to pay artists, I'd like to pay musicians to promote them because I think their work is important. And so if people want to pay me money and I can go to an artist or musician and say, "Hey, I have this much money and I'm going to apportion this much to you to help, motivate you and promote you and all of that stuff." Because, there's some really good artists and musicians out there. And as much as I wish I was one, I know there are people who are just so much better than me that I would be interested in that in the future. I'd be interested in, programming, artwork, musicians, book editing. I think those are approximately the four projects, with a couple of others possibly in the pipeline. But for myself personally, I just need a lot of emotional support. People don't realize how needy I am and how YouTube is a way that I derive a feeling of support, you know. Um, and I guess it's all relative. There's a certain level of YouTube activity and audience interaction where it becomes stressful. I certainly felt that way last year, last April, last May in 2020, that I was allowing myself to be wrapped up in online negativity and taking things too seriously and just getting really depressed about it. But I think there's a better way to look at YouTube and the internet, and to try to get positivity from it. Um, Unfortunately, it can become a replacement for reality, and that's what I've been trying to address with the road trip, is to say, YouTube is great if we use it as a tool to meet up in real life. Do you think living a nomadic life is a good way to acquire consistent emotional support? That's a very interesting question, Michael, and it's one I've been asking myself fairly often on this trip. Is, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this for selfish reasons? Am I doing it for altruistic reasons? Am I doing it for both? And is this the best way for me to achieve what I want to achieve? What do I want to achieve? I guess for me, I look back on the year before the road trip. So from, well, really for quite a long period of my life, and in different seasons, we'll say different seasons of my life, where I have been alone and isolated. Um, and people would say, if I said, like, I want to go on a road trip, people would say, well, what's the point? What's the purpose? Do I need external support? I don't know. That's up to you. Um, but if I said a year ago or 2 years ago or something, if I told people I'm going on a road trip, people would say, well, what's the point of doing that? And I'd say, well, I don't really have an answer. Hello, Visco. Um, I would say, I don't really have a point to the road trip, but I just want to go on a road trip. And they said, well, you shouldn't do something if you don't have a goal or an object. And so I kept encountering this internal monologue criticism of why do this, why do that, what's the purpose of this, what's the purpose of that, why bother doing anything? And it's really hard for me to justify doing much of anything. And then when I say, like, oh, well, I should read a book, yeah, I can read a book, but I'm needy, I need more than just books. I think what you're doing is interesting, but also must be exhausting. Michael, you bring up an interesting point once again, the exhaustion factor. And what's interesting is that, Michael, I have so much energy, that my level of energy inside my mind, inside my body, is actually exhausting. It's one of the reasons I injure myself so often, is because I'm always pushing myself. I'm pushing myself. The Nomadic Car YouTube Lifestyle seems like a good video game XP. I guess that's a band. So, from my perspective on this topic of exhaustion, is I'm constantly in an energetic state, and I'm constantly looking to beans and cheese don't need. Yeah, that's true. You can have the beans and cheese. Um, but I'm constantly in this energetic state, and if I don't have that, if I'm not focused on something, if I'm not pushing toward anything, if I'm not using that energy, it eats me up. And so when I was not on a road trip, I was actually spending every day in a kind of state of panic. You need an emotional support chameleon. Having to care for it will keep you grounded. That's funny. Yeah, pets are good. Of course, I have been pretty nomadic, so I don't really want to have a pet on the road, but it's possible. I guess if I had like a bigger car and you like leave the car every hour of driving, you run around with the dog or something, it's all possible. I've seen people doing that as I've been traveling around. People travel with their dogs. Um, it's not a terrible idea. It's just it is difficult. You got to buy dog food and do all this stuff. I mean, it's not. I'll consider it. I'll consider it. I guess. I haven't had a dog in my whole life. I've never had a dog. I've had cats, but never dogs. So it would be something real different having to train the dog on the road. You'd probably want to train the dog off the road first, and then Fed Smoker didn't have a house, live in a car, and had a dog. I don't know who Fed Smoker is. Um, but anyway, what was I talking about? Were we talking about perfectionism? Were we talking about dogs are overrated? I think dogs are good. Pygmy goats. Okay. Oh, we're talking about my energies. Yes, my energies. Thank you, Visco. So I have all of these energies, and if I don't have something I'm channeling, yes, how I channel them. If I don't channel my energies into something, they just eat me up, and I become miserable, basically, and I become very addictive. What if the people you're visiting are allergic? That's a great point, Mr. Yagami. I didn't think about that. Thankfully, I did not bring a dog with me. But anyway, yeah, just this question of channeling energies. And so people assume that I must be exhausted. And I would like people to be considerate of the fact that I'm under a lot of stress. But that ultimately, this level of stress, it's a different form of stress than I'm usually under. But there's a different kind of stress I'm under when I have nothing to do. When I say I have nothing to do, I do have a job, and so it's not that I have zero responsibilities in my life, but I am kind of this intense person who needs every moment to be occupied. Do you meditate? I have tried meditating. I'm not that good at it, and I think I could benefit from more of it, but it's very hard. It's very hard for me to go to sleep. When I put my head down, I say I'm tired and I have to wake up early in the morning. I just get anxious and I don't want to fall asleep and I just stay up. And that's part of the road trip as well, has been realizing like when I'm in a hotel by myself, or like I am by myself right now, it produces a lot of anxiety in me. It produces a lot of nervous energy, and it makes me very upset. And so having other people around is very calming to me. Hard for me too. Yeah, I don't think I'm the only one with these issues, but I don't know. It's been difficult trying to communicate these ideas without having this voice either internally or externally telling me that like just get over it, just get over it. And sometimes the things your energies can be easily channeled into are degenerate you, like letting your energies be consumed by social desires. Does strenuous exercise help? Yes, strenuous exercise does help. However, I have a dislocated shoulder, I have a twisted tailbone, I have a sprained ankle. Recently, I sprained my wrist, and this is all on the left side of my body. So, it's very difficult for me to exercise because I have joint issues, probably from low T. Um, that I need to try to fix. I need to try to like stop the road trip and get some surgery, some shoulder surgery, so I can do pull-ups again. But strenuous exercise has always been one of my favorite things in life, and having a numerous injuries for the last few years has been very difficult. Sauna is an excellent alternative. Yes, I went to a sauna just a couple days ago, and it was great, but the effects didn't really last. Not a permanent solution. You have to keep doing it continuously. So let me reread Visco. Your energies can be easily channeled to really just degenerate you, letting energies be consumed by social desires. Yeah, I think there's a limit to the productivity of pure sociality. I think pure sociality without any other consideration can be destructive. That's a good criticism of what I'm doing. Stretches, bro. Yeah, try to stretch every day for 20 minutes, if not an hour, So I'm familiar with stretching. It's just hard to do. I should be part of a yoga class or something. Swimming, I swim. I At some point I tried to swim every single day. I can only swim with one arm because my left shoulder pops out. So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of these things. It's mostly about getting the surgery, which I've been delaying because any those sorts of things, paperwork, bureaucracy, going into a hospital at this time, the medical industry. I've had just really bad experiences, and it makes me not want to do that. I can't sleep without listening to rain noise or YouTube videos. Sometimes I even use Soothe Space to relax and fall asleep too. I use the sound of waves to fall asleep, and I have now ashwagandha and a deep sleep. Let me see if I can. I'm just going to read it for you. I'm not going to show a bottle on camera. But it says deep sleep. It says fresh California poppy, fresh valerian, fresh passion flower, fresh chamomile, fresh lemon balm, fresh oat seed in a milky stage, and orange peel. So that is something I'm taking now, and I'm taking my glycine, and I'm taking my ashwagandha, and I took 5 glycines. Let's see what the bottle says. How many glycines can you take? It says serving size, 2 capsules. Consult your physician. Do not exceed 10 capsules per day. So I'm up to 5 capsules now. I started with just one. After a month, worked my way up to 2. After a month, worked my way up to 3. And then I was like 4 is the maximum. And now that I'm like really trying to get to sleep, I'm taking 5. And I just started that like yesterday, taking 5. But I won't do that every day. If I find I'm in an easy situation to fall asleep, I'll just take 1 or 2, keep it to a minimum. But then I guess 5 is my maximum. Been running every other day. Enjoyed the feeling of soreness when sleeping afterwards. Yeah, I agree. You better get that shoulder fixed. Sure. Notice your collarbone looked odd in a video. I think that's just I have an asymmetrical skeleton. I don't think that's necessarily having to do with the slap tear. It's a labrum tear. Shalom Brothers. Hello, friends of the arts. Did you say what caused the original injury? Yeah, I've had a lot of problems. Fish oils. Yep, I take my fish oils every day. I've gone through periods of using glycine, never noticed any huge difference. For me, it's a placebo effect. Appreciate your road trip project. It has inspired me to stay gold pony boy. Oh, thank you, sir. Um, I used to have a best friend who said that all the time, and it's actually very sad because I went to go visit him and he completely ignored me. I knew he was reading my text messages, and he decided to ignore me and not talk to me. And I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because I'm a mutant. Shave your head like a monk. I've already done that, Mr. Godward. I've already shaved my head like a monk. You can go back in the archive and look at those videos. People say I look weird and scary, which isn't necessarily different from how I look now, but I mean, I don't have something to shave my head with right now. So, was your sleep bad before the road trip? Yes, because you're sleeping in an unfamiliar environment, your sleep quality will be worse. That's not true. I sleep better um, in weird environments like the trunks of cars than I do in a familiar quote unquote environment. In fact, the worst environment for me is a place that I know very well because the more familiar it is to me, the more it causes me to overthink. The more weird an environment it is, the more I'm focused on my external surroundings than I'm focused on my internal narrative, I guess. I'm like the opposite of an NPC. My internal monologue is running at a million miles an hour, and it's always causing me pain. Shave your head like a punk. Eat a whole raw celery bunch. I would do that if I had celery. I don't have any celery, so you can buy some. You can bring some to me. You can send me your address. I will go drive to your address, and I will eat your celery that you purchased for me. Thank you for the suggestion. Yes, I will indeed be headed to your house. Yeah, same. Can't sleep without podcasts. I used to listen to podcasts before sleep, which is funny. I don't really do that anymore. You need to exhaust yourself. No, I agree with you, Michael. I'm in the process of exhausting myself right now. I'm doing a stream, and we've already reached the hour mark. If Casey would have overcome the fear, you'd be staring at a men's college out of his garage. I don't know what that means, but you know, I have two minds about what you're saying. On the one hand, I want to defend and say, you've got to understand, man, everybody's different and blah blah blah. But then another part of me wants to say, it's just interesting. It's just interesting when people suggest that I do things. I love it when people say things like, I love it when people say things like, you should do this and you should do that. And I'm like, that's something you could actually do. That's something you could do rather than telling me to do it. My internal monologue runs at a million miles an hour. It makes me think about the same problem over and over again. Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. Next episode will address this. The day Jocko becomes a philosophical quietist is the day the Jocko experience ends. I don't know what that means. My sister, oh, let me cancel that. My sister had a German short hair pointer that went insane because it was confined to its house primarily and was bred to live on a farm. Any fast food places, I don't like fast food place. I guess the closest thing, I haven't been to Panera in a year, but Panera's okay. If I had to, I would go to Subway. I remember the last time my friend said, "Oh, let's go to Taco Bell," and I was like, "I'm not going to eat Taco Bell." And so he's like, "Okay, we'll go to the store," and we just made sandwiches. So like, you can just buy deli meats for the same price as a burger, and it's more calories, it's more protein, it's healthier. It doesn't, so I'm not a fan of fast food places. I still eat a lot. I could probably eat more than anyone with the exception of Bingo. Bingo could probably eat more than me, but with the exception of Bingo, I could probably eat more than any single person in this chat right now. I have an incredibly expansive stomach, but I don't. I do my fasting and I do my feasting. Sometimes I think if the same problem repeats itself over and over, it means you might be addressing it in a dishonest way in your mind. That, as the saying goes, the body is wise. But hey, when we're going to do that interview, I want to do that. I'll Socratize you. Okay, Godward, let's do it right here, right now. Send me the Streamlabs link, and I'll open it up, and we'll do an interview. I'm here, you're here, we're here, and there's no time like the present. I forget to eat it in the internal monologues. The next time Jocko goes live, so we'll be at a hot dog eating contest. I've never tried a hot dog eating contest. Can't, oh, look at this guy. Can't do it right now. Nights, 9 p.m. works for me. Yeah, it doesn't work for me, sorry. I guess we'll just have to cancel that idea. Changing diapers, lol. Well, you can't, wow. Why don't you just interview me while changing diapers, you know? But I understand. Look, I threw an idea out there. I said, like, let's do interviews. But, you know, obviously timing is difficult. I'm a difficult guy to time. Let's move this on up. What do other people think of repetitive thought patterns? Look at this dude. Yeah, look at this dude. Should I drink some water? Should I take a W right now? I've got this Maui mango. Look at this. Maui mango tea. I drank it. I filled it with water. So I'm gonna drink it with one hand because the other hand is holding the phone. It's delicious. It's a bit dry. I'm feeling a bit dehydrated right now. So, after staying with a lot of us, what can you say about your fans in general? Can't generalize that. Look, bro, I made an hour-long video. I made an hour-long video on my thoughts about the fans. And for you to ask that question, that's an illegitimate question. Not legitimate, fake question, not real. Not a real question. You can't these people are individuals. That was the whole point, to generalize the fans. Every fan was different. Some fans were not fans, other fans were fans. When you were with the Weedawoo, you were about to explain why no women on the trip, but he changed topics. Can you elaborate? I have no clue what you're talking about. I don't remember ever saying to him, I will never have women on this trip. I never said that. Not sure where you're getting that. The fans are all cool and handsome. Very true. The fans are all cool and they're all handsome. You know, some are more cool and handsome than others, but they're pretty much all cool and handsome. You know, all cool and handsome. It is actually, you know what? I will say some guys really did surprise me. Some of those guys out there, with how cool and handsome they were, I mean, some guys were just so cool that it was tough. It was actually tough. Who are the fans? Go watch the road trip review to find out who the fans are. Did you say something about not focusing on women? Oh, yeah, not focusing on women, like not going on Tinder. Like, don't go on Tinder and don't chase women. That is something I've been trying to work on. It's difficult because that is addictive to me. But anyone make a pass? I don't know what that means. What kind of passes were made? Sure, yeah, people made passes. All kinds of passes. The football passes, basketball passes, Disney passes, Orlando Studios. I'm sorry I didn't watch that video. I was sick and couldn't watch videos where you were driving without getting motion sickness. Literally just don't watch the video and just listen to the audio. Simple, easy. Wow, I'm a genius. I feel naked hearing Ken talk about how cool I am. Dad says I'm cool. Mom says I'm handsome. That's right. That's right. Dad says I'm cool. Mom says I'm handsome. How can you beat that? Possibly the two coolest and best looking people in the world told me I'm cool and handsome. I mean, it's over, folks. How can you deny? How can you continue to deny the obvious? Why why do you reject the truth? The truth that we are all both handsome and cool. But, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. I don't always feel handsome, and I don't always feel cool. But that's okay. We don't have to be 100% handsome and 100% cool all the time. Because, life is about more than just being handsome and cool. Life is also about being kind and loving and caring. If everyone is handsome, no one is handsome. You do have a point. When is the Suit Space podcast coming back? It'll come when it comes. Don't worry about it. Don't rush it. We are in two different time zones, so sometimes people have jobs, sometimes people have road trips. Don't worry about it. It'll probably come back after the road trip is over. But I can't make any guarantees. Everybody wants it to come back. Don't worry. It'll come back eventually. How much would you bet these 16 viewers are all male? I would bet $16. Did you meet any cute women? There's cute women all over the place, dude. I mean, I don't know if my standards are low or what's going on, but there's cute women everywhere. Now, when we say cute women, to me, that's like, that's like 50% of women. But then, if you're talking about women just that blow you away, to me, the most attractive thing about a woman is a woman who likes me for who I am. A woman who's just like, wow, you're a cool guy and I'm interested in you. If I see a 10 out of 10 model or whatever the language you want to use, maybe you think that's offensive. But anyway, if you see a very attractive woman walking down the street, that doesn't really blow me away. It's like, oh, I see her 5 seconds, whatever. But, if I see a woman and she's attracted to me, she's interested in me, and she, pays attention and she values me, she sees something in me, that gets me going. That makes me go crazy. There's not a lot of women like that out there, but some of them, they make me go crazy. Some of them, I'm still thinking about those women from back in the day. Some nostalgia. We're going through some very painful nostalgia for the last year. Let's see. 21 viewers. Ken's GF when? Never. No GF. Never. Did you meet any hot women, any babes? I wouldn't say I really met many hot women and babes. I'd say I met some nice ladies, cute like iguanas. My favorite video on the tour so far was the German soldier kid in the bar, the girls video. Of course you would. Of course you love that IRL interview, Gibson. I just need people who will help me with that, and I'm happy to do more of that. But a lot of people hate when I do that. They criticize it. They say, that's not substantial. That's sociality without substance. Silly Putty and the Jockle Hands. Women of little speak is best. Nowadays, big Sosmopolitan cover girls are tens. I'll make you feel crazy, Ken. Oh, Visco. You're quite a character, aren't you? Going past cute in terms of attractiveness has rapidly diminishing returns met in the biblical sense. No. No, nothing, no Chad conquering adventures with the women on this trip. Just just focusing on the dudes, friendship with the dudes, because I just don't feel really fulfilled with the women. Yeah, but those people just don't get it. Yeah, it's different strokes for different golf courses, Gibson. Different people have different needs. Some people need to be hyper intellectual all the time. Some people just need content and sociality. I understand that people are different, and we try to give people what they want, but you can't satisfy everyone. Abiding with the dudes, yeah, it just didn't work. I spent probably a year trying to impress women and trying to make them like me, and I found that it seemed like a waste of my time, and it seemed like not something I really actually wanted. Like the Vitavu guy, yeah, Vitavu guy was cool. It seems much more worth my time to make connections with guys who want to build projects and build groups and build businesses and things like that. So, you know, I'm not just thinking of it in terms of myself, but also forming connections between other people who I've never met before. Flirting with that girl in the bar was good to see. Yeah, I don't know if I describe that as flirting. I mean, I guess you could say there's an undertone of flirting behind like every interaction, I suppose. But it was more like I was kind of trapped between two extremes. One guy was like, "Let's do an interview. It's gonna be awesome," and then the other guy was, "Please don't do this interview. Please stop this interview." And so I was like between these two guys, and like, okay, I'll do it, but I understand it's cringe. I understand it is tripartite flirting. Yeah, well, maybe that's what was going on. But I think both of them had boyfriends, and neither of them were really interesting to me, and I wasn't really interesting to them. We were just kind of forced together. Um, oh man, it is a little bit funny. I mean, the whole background and context to that thing is I just went in like, we're at a bar, and I'm like, none of these girls are interested in me. Like, nothing's gonna happen here. And so for me, I was just like, I was just hanging out. But then some other people there were a little bit, they were a little bit desperate, and that I think maybe some lessons were learned about how you treat women at bars. Um, Stuff and Things. Hey Ken, how goes? It goes well, my friend. Stuff and Things. Good to see you. What's Justin Murphy's deal? He's a cool guy. Met up with him. The mistake I made with John David Ebert was expecting him to do a video with me, and he didn't want to do that. And I just had to learn that famous people are people too, and they do not want to do videos all the time, and I respect that. And it's something very difficult because I want to be friends with Justin Murphy. Do you think Vita Vu guy sets America's forest fires? No, no, he does not. He is very conscious. He's very environmentally friendly. I think he controls his fires. He doesn't let them spread. But we actually did see a forest fire when we were driving by. It was pretty funny. I should have, if I wasn't driving, I would have panned the camera out there to show it. But anyway, it was a controlled burn. It was in a controlled burn area. We saw the sign and everything. It wasn't. We didn't have to call 911 or something. But anyway, what I was saying about we were talking about women. Justin Murphy. It's just like I feel very caught, and this is like the title of the video, friendship. My ideology is friendship. I feel very caught and stuck and unhappy because I'll try to be friends with people, or try to be partners. I'll try to work with people, and because of political polarization, people are like, "Well, you're cool, but I don't like the guy you talk to." And then like another guy will be like, "You're cool, but I don't like this jockle guy." And so like there's all this like network of people who split hairs over things that to me aren't immediate. Like if someone punches you in the face, yeah, I want to disassociate with that person. If someone advocates violence, absolutely. If someone engages in criminal activity, I pretty much disassociate with those people, and I expect everyone to do that. But at the same time, if someone has a different opinion about a border wall, if someone has a different opinion about national politics, if someone has a different opinion about big concepts like civilization, and someone has a different opinion on music genre, it's like these are, I think, problems that I think we should be able to work through in a cooperative way rather than excluding people on the basis of these things that are ultimately, they're, on the one hand, highly consequential in the sense that they affect billions of people, and on the other hand, they're inconsequential in the sense that we can't consequence them, right? We can't affect the outcome of these big topics. And so to me, it's not worth deciding who your friends and enemies are. Maybe it helps if you change your name to deep centrist, Jockle, etc., etc. No, I don't think that's actually true, and I think I've given arguments for this elsewhere. But if you say if you say I'm deep left and I'm anti-capitalist, and I'm looking for solutions on how to think about politics that are, not not sticking to the superficial, not sticking to the mainstream. I'm not trying to conserve the society that we have. I've had, I don't know, I feel like that has been much more effective than just saying centrism. And I know people who say that, like radical centrism. I did not meet Justin Murphy's wife, so I cannot speak to that. But I'm sure she's a very lovely lady. Um, yeah, so I don't believe actually in centrism and simply being a moderate. When I'm against polarization or I'm against radicalism, I'm not doing it from this place of centrism. I'm doing it from a place of, we should have values, we should care about things. She's attractive. Okay, Bruce, let's not give backhanded compliments. Thank you. Let's be nice. But anyway, base centrism is my thing. Okay, it's not. Yeah, it's not my thing because I'm not to me, centrist means you take leftist corporatism and right wing corporatism, and then you have centrist corporatism in the middle. Centrism to me is like, well, I like Biden's social policy, but I like Trump's economic policy. That's centrism, and I'm not a centrist. I don't agree with centrism. I don't think centrism is a good idea. I don't think it's appealing. And it seems like, one person says cut off all your fingers, another person says cut off none of your fingers, so you cut off half of them, and that's centrism. So I don't believe in centrism. I think it's a pretty bankrupt political philosophy. Have you been going to church? No, I've been thinking about it, but being on a road trip on Sunday, I spent 14 hours driving, so I was not I was not going to church, unfortunately. Um, I just like to be descriptive. Trying to workshop some ideology and mapping it onto reality seems ineffective. Base centrist King Solomon. Um, I try to be descriptive. Um, I understand the limitations of ideology, but I still think we kind of have to engage with it. We live in such a cool time to connect, and yet people are the most anti-socially tribalistic. Well, it sounds like a paradox, but I think it's actually not. I don't know. I think there's a lot of paradoxical elements. So like, oh, the internet can help people connect, but in reality, it's you have to understand this from the perspective of Marshall McLuhan. So Marshall McLuhan would say something like, if you have a phone, the phone becomes an extension of you. It becomes an extension of your brain, etc. And it basically debilitates you. And so I think that the connectivity of the internet debilitates our ability to connect. As paradoxical as it sounds, I'd suggest looking into McLuhan. Why is the online right wing trad community so vitriolic toward Protestants? Do you think there's a way forward for trad minded Protestants running in these circles? Well, I don't describe myself as trad or traditionalist, so I can't tell trad Protestants what to do. Um, but I definitely think that there is. a lot of superficiality in these kind of ideological analyses. I think Catholicism has a lot of the same problems that Protestantism does, and you know, these are these are difficult questions, and we can understand the role of Protestantism historically and try to understand it, but yeah, just condemning things. What does Christ say? He says, don't throw stones in glass houses. No, he doesn't say that. He says, do not pick out the splinter in someone else's eye when you have a log in your own eye. So I think, you know, this kind of thing where we run around scapegoating any religious group of people, whether it's Judaism or Protestantism or whateverism, secularism, atheism, paganism, Satanism, whatever. I mean, not to say that I don't have my own opinions on this, but when people are so vitriolic and they're just always on the attack against other people, I imagine they aren't spending enough time building themselves up and their community. I'm hesitant if internet communities seems dangerous. I agree. I'm generally content with my real community I'm part of and feel like these things should not converge. Okay, Michael. I mean, it sounds like you don't really are not benefiting from this, and you should probably spend more time with your real community rather than engaging with my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is really directed toward people who don't have a real community and who are trying to brainstorm ways to get off the internet into the real world. That's what I'm trying to do, and I have my own issues with that. And so, you know, if I had a real community, I don't think I would be online as much, or certainly my online presence would be very different from what it is. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Michael? Is watching an 81-minute live stream, is that a good use of your time? Could you be doing something else? Now, if you're someone like me, where you feel like incapacitated to do anything else, then this right now, I guess, is I feel like this is the best thing I can be doing of what I'm capable of. But are you capable of more, Michael? Maybe we need to ask these questions. Trad Protestant. I suggest the Son of Sam documentary on Netflix. Sounds scary. Sounds very scary. Ken, have to go. Thanks for the stream, bro. Thanks for watching. The online trad community is a political community, and they're against Protestantism because it's not conducive to their authoritarian beliefs. I'm familiar with the medium equals the message concept, just a strange thought given how easy it is to connect. Many online communities could be real. Right. Well, look at Michael. Michael is not interested in online communities. So, yeah, I think that it seems paradoxical, but it's not. I think when you say many online communities could be real, I don't think that's actually true. I think a lot of online communities are superficial and composed of antisocial people who need to work on their antisocial tendencies if they want to have real community. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, and I think that's what a lot of other people are trying to do, but we're not quite there. It's very difficult given the I mean, it's like trying to have a real relationship with a woman given the popularity of pornography. It makes things difficult because it's like, well, why bother to put myself out there and go for the real thing when I could just have this simulation that's so much easier? And I think that's, you know, social pornography is part of what I'm feeding into here. I'm in a sense I'm part of the problem, and but I'm admitting that and saying like we have to go beyond just YouTube live streams, you know. I'm doing this because otherwise I would be, you know, fiddling around, I would be procrastinating, I'd be scrolling through Twitter, and I was like, well, I haven't done a live stream in a while. I should probably do one. We are trying to grow the channel. I mean, that is one of my goals. I'd like to next year have a road trip with somebody in all 50 states. I wasn't able to achieve that this time, which is disappointing, but you know, we still achieved a lot of good things. So I'm happy with what I've achieved, but there's always more, and I want to make it bigger and better, and get to the point where you know we can continue this toward the real life as opposed to the online community. I'm exposed to unique and interesting modes of thoughts to this type of community. Well, I'm glad you gained something from it, Michael, but don't feel obligated to be involved with it any more than you feel is beneficial to you. The structure of Protestantism is somewhat analogous to early European shamanistic structures as opposed to the more Eastern priestly idea, coming from some strains of Christianity, which is a valid authority structure. Yeah, clearly there's a centralization versus decentralization divide. That's one of the most like obvious things between Protestantism and Catholicism. But there's a lot else to go into there. I think it's complicated. And what if it was posed as an ideal, though? Ideal what? Like real life? Um, I don't know what you mean by that, posed as an ideal. Should I have another drink of water here? I've been talking for 86 minutes. We've got 22 viewers with 18 thumbs up. It's not a terrible live stream, not terrible numbers. I think my max in the past was 50 live viewers, and during the live stream, maybe 50 thumbs up. So we're at like half our peak right now. It's Monday. It's not, people are probably still in work right now. So we're just enjoying some beautiful water here. Everyone, just maybe you're listening to this on your phone. If so, maybe go to the kitchen with your phone, get a glass of water. You know, if you're on your computer, maybe pause the video, or perhaps just turn your volume up. Go to your kitchen, grab some water. Remember to stay hydrated. It's one of the most important things. I can't stress this enough. I cannot repeat this enough on this channel that water is life. In this house, we believe water is life. You know, that's one of the deep left principles, one of the holy principles. The ideal is to drink a gallon of water a day. But you also have to refill your electrolytes. Don't forget to refill your electrolytes. Don't do more than a gallon a day. Gonna drink some sleepy time tea. Sounds very relaxing. Yes. Sleepy time. Amen. Yes. And everybody said amen to that. To water and sleepy time tea. Hail the holy W. Yes. All rise for the holy W. We should celebrate the water. Gatorade for the electrolytes. Well, sugar is an electrolyte, but it's not the only one, and I think there's others that are better. You know, we probably have too much sugar in our diets at this point, so maybe not Gatorade. Maybe not Gatorade. You know. I'm feeling a bit muggy. I'm feeling a bit muggy at the moment. Coconut water for the electrolytes. How do you overcome the fear of pooping in someone else's house? Well, that's an interesting question. Yeah, coconut water is great, and sounds like you have what Freud would call anal retention. It sounds like you have this fear of the unfamiliar, and it causes your body to seize up, and you become constipated. One way to deal with that physically, biologically, is to just drink a gallon of water a day. And then that really solves most. You don't really need laxatives. You just need to drink more water. Most people don't understand how dehydrated they are. I suggest you get a pee bottle and you pee into your pee bottle, because when you pee into a toilet, your pee mixes with the water and it becomes more diluted. But you pee into a pee bottle and you can see just how yellow it is. And optimally, you should have clear pee, and then you might not be so constipated. But your fear of the unfamiliar might have to do with this attachment to the idea of people are judging you, things are scary, it's uncertain, you're afraid of getting hurt. So maybe maybe work on some of those deeper fears before working on your fear of pooping. What's going on with Wilhelm Reich? Let's let the stream catch up to me. Okay, so Wilhelm Reich, he views people. He looks at things like anal retention and looks at these fixed patterns of behavior, and he says, well, the way to release the tension is to become completely tensionless. And he identifies this thing he calls the Western armor. I don't know if he uses that term exactly, but it's the term that Camille Paglia uses. And this term, the Western armor, it is a very culturally specific term. And again, I'm not familiar enough with Wilhelm Reich to know if he uses that term specifically, but I'm using that term. Yeah, the Orgone box guy. I'm using that term because I do think that our armor is a very particular Western thing, that the Western cultures were the only cultures to develop full suits of armor. You don't see them with the samurai, right? You see wooden armor, flexible armor. You don't see them in Africa. Yeah, he uses the term character armor, but what I'm saying is that I think when he uses the term character armor, he's using really the same term that Camille Paglia is using when she says the word Western armor. And I think we do have to be conscious of the fact that Western cultures are the most armored cultures of all cultures. They are more armored than the Aztecs and the Incas and the Chinese and the Japanese and the Igbo and the Bantu and the Khoisan. And so, or the Mongolians or whoever, the Western armor, it's a particular aspect of what makes Western cultures unique. And so when Wilhelm Reich says you should just get rid of all your armor, I think someone like Freud would say that's very dangerous, right? Freud believes that civilization is constructed by repression. And so we have to learn if repression is becoming so, think of it like a suit of armor, right? If a suit of armor is too heavy and you can't move, it's not very productive because you're a sitting duck. So there has to be some mobility. Is it bad to be armored? What I'm saying is that there's a balance. If you have no armor at all, you're Dionysian, right? So when Camille Paglia talks about the Western armor, she talks about it in the sense of the Apollonian versus Dionysian. And so there's an advantage to being armored, but there's a disadvantage. And so we need both perspectives. And I think Wilhelm Reich, with his orgone and his attack on the Western armor, I think he is doing something very destructive. Now, sometimes destruction is needed. Sounds like centrism. Okay, well, you can call it centrism or you can call it Aristotelianism, but in any case, I think both are needed. Does that make Westerners harder to change their mind? Not necessarily. I don't think we should take the metaphor too literally and apply it too liberally. Hypermodernism gave us Under Armour. Okay, very cool. Um, I would just say I think it's significant. I think you have to read Paglia. You have to understand what do we mean by armor. We're talking about the Apollonian. What do we mean when we say Western civilization is more Apollonian than other civilizations? It's more concerned through the history of art. I mean, you have, again, I would just say read Camille Paglia, Sexual Personae, or read Nietzsche. But Camille Paglia does a more cross cultural analysis, and she talks about art history and she compares art from different cultures, and she shows how this concept of the definite form and the ideal and this obsession with the perfect golden ratio and realism goes back quite far. And we can look at the bust of Nefertiti like 3,000 years ago, and this bust, I mean, is pretty much as good as what people can do today. I mean, it's pretty hyper realistic. It's pretty much as good as anything the Greeks or Romans did. And so people have been obsessed with this for a very long time. The question is like, where does Egyptian culture itself come from? Well, Egyptian culture was very multicultural, right? It was a multi-ethnic, multicultural empire spanning from Nubia, but also many peoples of the Mediterraneans. The Jews claim to have lived in ancient Egypt. We know that at some point the Greeks got over there. We know that they were red haired Egyptians. We know that they were black Egyptians. There were all kinds of Egyptians running around. And so, I think this actually reinforces the idea that multiculturalism is not an aberration, but it is a very ancient and old and sort of intertwined with the idea of civilization itself, that you can't really have a civilization without multiculturalism, and nationalism and civilization in some ways are opposites. Um, and that nationalism taken to its absolute extreme would result in total tribalism and destroy civilization. Afro-Asiatic origin is much more mysterious than Indo-European. Well, the Coptic languages are not Afro-Asiatic, so I'm not sure what you're getting at there. Did Plato get some of his stuff from Egypt? Well, Pythagoras did claim that he spoke to the Egyptians in forming his theories of the world. He said he spoke to the Hyperboreans and the Egyptians and the Babylonians. Alexandria is very significant in the development of Platonic Orientalism and Christianity, lots of cultures interacting and cross pollinating. Yes, true. This is all true. It's all real. 95 minutes. We've been going for quite a while here. It's amazing to think when I look back on one of my most popular videos was this back when people thought there was going to be a war with Iran, and it was like it was almost a 5-hour video. Do you feel that many internet people could re-embed themselves back into formal communities based on existing concepts, that the internet should transplant itself into physical communities as a general goal? Well, I don't think there is. I don't think there's one way. Is Coptic Afro-Asiatic? If it's true, I'm not. I'm going to need to be fact-checked on this. That's why the Egyptians are called cousins of the Jews in the Bible. Yeah, I've heard that before. If internet people could re-embed themselves in formal community. Yeah, I think both are necessary. But let me conclude that Coptic was an Afro-Asiatic language. I thought it was like Sumerian or something, and I don't think Sumerian is Afro-Asiatic. I think it has these mysterious origins. We don't know what it's connected to, but I'm very surprised that Coptic is Afro-Asiatic. I never knew that. It never sounded Afro-Asiatic to me, but I guess it is an Afro-Asiatic language, so a lot of things going. We're learning about Egypt today. Let's see. Indo-European. Yes, exactly. I mean, when we look at the ancient past and we try to think of like who lived in ancient Egypt, these sort of simplistic answers of like, oh, well, it was probably just like modern Egyptians. Not necessarily, but also the idea that it was just like any kind of Afrocentric or Eurocentric or, some kind of simple, oh, all ancient Egyptians looked like, Queen Latifah, or all ancient Egyptians looked like, Cleopatra or something like that. There's no simple answer to this question. And additionally, when we look at the 12, hello, Kenneth, you're looking very Semitic today. Thank you, Jean. Thank you for that lovely compliment. What was I saying? So yeah, when we think about like the 12 tribes of Israel, that implies to me that you actually had 12 separate distinctive groups who came together and formed a single nation. So I think probably something likely was going on in Egypt because it's a fertile valley. It's on a sea, it's on the Mediterranean Sea. So you've got Phoenicians, you've got Jews, you've got Afro-Asiatic, you've got whatever that would be. You've got people, you've maybe got some Hittites coming over, you've got some, I don't know, you've got maybe some Etruscans coming over. You've got a lot of Mediterranean peoples who may have been like, oh, I wonder what's going on over here in Egypt. I think I'm going to go sail over. You will hear a lot in historical accounts, in medieval accounts of the origins of the British and so on. They'll say like, oh, well, the British are just descended from Trojans. And maybe, the Germans are descended of Amalekites or something. So there are all these like Middle Eastern centered theories. Yeah, Nubians lived in Egypt as well. But there are all these Middle Eastern myths about Afro-Asiatic is Yamnaya. Okay, if you say so, I've never heard that theory before. And I probably don't believe it. But anyway, Belker, yeah, this sounds extremely contradictory to everything I know about Bell Beakers and Afro-Asiatic and Indo-European. But anyway, You'd have to send me some proof of the Afro-Asiatic Yamnaya connection. That seems very. I've never heard of this before. Anyway, yeah, but instead of believing that the British are descended from the Trojans, Zulu warriors into your. Okay, I see you're just trolling me now, Gene. You successfully trolled me. Um, I think actually it's the opposite. I think that rather than the British being descended from Trojans and the Germans being descended from Amalekites, it's probably more the case that ancient Egyptians were descended from all kinds of people who lived around the Mediterraneans and Berbers and whoever was living in Iberia. These pre like Basque peoples. Maybe the Basque peoples lived in ancient Egypt. All kinds of weird stuff was going on. Because as we think about the internet has really handicapped us and it's really enslaved us and it's made us incapable of traveling. Nobody wants to meet, no one wants to travel. But I want to meet, I want to travel. And I know that my ancestors wanted to meet and travel. Haplogroups. Every significant person in the world is of my ethnic origin. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Do you think it is a valuable general ultimate goal to divert resources from existing corporate structures into businesses, etc.? I don't know what that means. Um, is it a good goal to divert resources from corporations into businesses? Well, aren't those synonyms? I think what you mean to say is, do you think it's good to buy local? And yeah, it is good to buy local. We should buy local. I mean, not really in any locality right now, so I don't really. I'll buy local if someone says, "Let's go out to eat." I'll say, "Let's go somewhere local." Let's not. I don't like going to big chains, so I try to buy local if I can. Psychically traveling through technology. We're in the room with you right now. Well, not really, actually. That would be. I don't think. Say hi. My name is Scum Sucking Slimmer, and yeah, it would be very different. Would you rather have fun or make minoritarian schemes? Why not both? Why not have both? Um, Maybe. Are you saying it's not fun to make minoritarian schemes? Let's see how. It's not the same. Yeah. Wow. Now I'm all the way up here. It's kind of crazy, actually. This point that I have going on here. I mean, you get a degree, you go work at Toyota, you buy from Walmart, speaking more broadly. Yeah, I think we should get degrees from each other. I think we should make our own schools, make our own degrees, make our own cars, and make our own Walmart. Well, we're not making a gang. I'm not a gang leader. But the Jocolites, there's that term floating around, the Jocolites. Um, Buy blueberry juice from your local anthroposophic farmers. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that, but maybe it would be tasty. Maybe it would taste good. I don't know about that. It's certainly you would try. You could buy from the Amish. You could buy from the Mormons. The Jelkolites. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. It's good. Yeah, I'd like to have some blueberry juice. I'm actually getting kind of hungry here. I'm getting hungry. I want to take a shower. I want to exercise. I can't believe I've done this live stream for an hour. It really flies by a lot faster when I just kind of like do my material. When I do like an hour where I don't pay attention to the chat and then I like catch up on the chat. That's I think that's the way to get the. But if you just focus on that, then you become distracted. Do you have a UTI? Is that a urinary tract infection? No, I do not have a urinary tract infection. I don't know why you would accuse me of having a urinary tract infection. but I in fact do not have a urinary tract infection, and I have never had a urinary. So you should go with cranberry juice. Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Why would you troll me with such an accusation? I would never have a urinary tract infection. Hey, Abby, please don't do this. You're jinxing it. You're gonna give everyone UTIs. We don't need those. How can you be so sure? Oh my gosh. I can't handle you people sometimes. I actually can't handle these people. I like the video in the Rust Belty town with the bus on the blown out building. Yeah, I liked it too. You should have climbed that wall. Well, you should have been there with me, man, and then we could have done it together, but you were not available at the time, I guess. All kinds of juice recommendations. Take notes. Yeah, juices. They're pretty juicy. You can't deny that. Listen, you can say a lot of things about these juices, but one thing that you can't say is that they're not juicy. You got to admit, love them or hate them, they're spitting straight juice. That's what they're spitting. So, we're a big fan. But let's see. I've talked in this video about political hypergamy. I've talked about perfectionism. I've talked about standards. I've talked about differentiation. I believe I've heard you say you believe the scale of a real solution exists only at a religious level. Do you have any specific thoughts about what that kind of religion would entail? Um, yeah. So I think we have to learn from what works. We have to understand how religions work. Um, are you a White Boy Summer admirer now? I wouldn't go that far. Juice is Apollonian. That's actually not true. Juice is Dionysian by definition. Dionysus is the god of juice. Um, Specific thoughts of what that religion would entail. Okay, so it has to build off things that we've already have, and I believe it's going to build off liberalism. Yeah, it would entail good stuff, and it won't include the bad stuff exactly. But yeah, it's got to be based on liberalism essentially, and people don't like to hear that. But that's what it's got to be based on. Of course, liberalism is has a lot of problems, right? It's not cranberry juice is Apollonian. No, that's not true. What's good stuff? Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? What is the good stuff? Um, but yeah, it has to be based on liberalism, and it has to somehow address some of the problems of liberalism. I can't be mad at White Boy Summer if it's for me. Got to take what I can get. UTI is Apollonian. No, wrong. Um, so we have to understand what liberalism is and not merely just get mad at liberalism for being destructive. It's got to be based on liberalism, so it'll be like Freemasonry, I guess. Well, Freemasonry is clearly part of the liberal tradition, um, but it's not necessarily going to be. Um, it's not going to just be some not as simplistic. I mean, liberalism is like a trunk, and Freemasonry is like a branch on that trunk. So it's not just going to be Freemasonry. Is Jocko post liberal? Isn't that Arvel's idea? So you're throwing out one person is saying, aren't you just aren't you just this brand word? And then another person is saying, didn't someone else come up with this idea already? Yeah, I don't claim to have any original ideas, guys. You're just asking me what my position is, and instead of giving you buzzwords and brands and telling you, go listen to this person or go listen to that, read this book, I'm just trying to explain to you in my own words what I believe. Some kind of secret society? Well, I mean, I don't think everything should be totally public. I'm not a privacy eliminationist. You can have different goals from Freemasonry while still building your own radical secret societies. Well, I mean, the first rule of secret societies is don't talk about secret societies. So I'm not really going to talk about the secrecy element of things. Freemasons are working class. Think about it. Brick Lane is working class. I'm just joshing you. Yeah, you're joshing. People are joshing me, but I'm getting multiple joshing from multiple angles. So all I'm trying to say is that was Ken Brown kind of plump? Post liberal is Joel's thing. Um, Maybe I was kind of plump back in the day. Maybe I'm still plump. But what I'm trying to say is that liberalism is powerful. We have to understand why it's powerful. And instead of just hating it, we should recognize its power and ask, like, what truth does this power proceed from, and try to work with that rather than against it. What's our initiation ritual? You have to go on a road trip. You have to meet as many people as possible on the road trip. That's an initiation ritual. But there's a lot of different ideas. Look, I'm not really qualified to invent a religion because I'm pretty yeah, subscribing to the Jockle Patreon, right? You know, we've got 1,000 subscribers to the Jockle Patreon. $10 a month. I'm making $10,000 a month. It's pretty cool. Eating onions and drinking various juices. True. Dudes watch the Star Wars prequels, think there's some radical Palpatine type big player. Yeah, that's actually very true. So yeah, I'm not really qualified to like invent a religion or something. The cool guys society. But I think people should be thinking about this. And I think instead of gathering around people, it's like, whoa, we could like infiltrate the Republican Party and we could like become Republicans and we could like create incremental change by building a border wall. I think that's nonsense and we should ignore those people. And instead, we should engage with people who are interested in religion. And I think that's how you're going to get your answers. Are onions Apollonian? It's a tough question. You're asking the tough questions today. Are onion? I feel like lemons are very Apollonian. But onions, I don't know. Onions are a root vegetable. They grow under the ground. So I think onions might be Dionysian. But maybe eating the onion represents the slaying of Tiamat by Marduk. You know, I'm tearing apart the Dionysian root. What about lemonade? I think lemonade is pretty Apollonian. It's probably the most Apollonian of juices, lemon juice, because it's lemonade. It's not. I don't know. There's something different about it. That sweet lemonade, sweet lemonade, sweet lemonade. Yeah, sweet lemonade. Get on my horse, and I'll take you around the universe and all the other places too. I think you'll find that the universe pretty much covers everything. You know how it goes. Get on my horse. I'll have some lemonade. Does anyone remember that Weeble? You got to offer me some knickknacks before I subscribe to your Patreon. Some knickknacks. Yeah, we could do some knickknacks. I could sell mugs. I could sell t-shirts. I already am. Go to jockle.com/store and buy t-shirts for $20. Release screensavers, Jockle DVDs, posters, 2004 Age Energy. Yep. Go. It's all on jockle.com/store. You can buy t-shirts, you can buy sweaters, and you can buy whatever you want. I don't know. I'm not responsible for any viruses you get. What happened to Mr. Cool Mug? I think I banned him for posting 20 comments per video because it was annoying. I told him to stop and he didn't listen, so now he's gone. I actually want to see. I think I have an audience of 24 people here. I want to listen to all of them. Obelisk Respecter, yeah, he was banned for being very trollish. Jockle OnlyFans, yep, go to jockle.com/OnlyFans. Sign up for my OnlyFans. If it isn't a city slicker pulling up in his fancy German car, this car was made in Guatemala. Well, pardon me, Mr. Gucci loafers. I bought these shoes from a hobo. Well, la-di-da, Mr. Park Avenue manicure. I don't know what that's about. Can I buy Jockle DVDs with your face on them? Yes, it's all on jockle.com/store. You can buy keychains, t-shirts, subscribe to my OnlyFans. It's all there. It's all there. Everything your heart could ever desire. We've already thought of it. We've already implemented it. We're selling it, on top of the 10 grand from everything. Your soil pH is up around 9.6. That sounds pretty high, dude. Soil pH 9.6. That sounds kind of acidic, don't you think? It sounds pretty acidic. Maybe you need to bring that down, more basic. Can I buy your fingernail clip? Yep, we've got jars filled with fingernail clippings. If you want one fingernail clipping, that's gonna be $5, for the larger volumes. Goes up to $500. Yeah, each of my fingernail clippings is worth $5, and so it takes me 100 days to get $500 worth of fingernail clippings. Just watch me. I'll grow something out there. Not if you're planting gummy worms. I don't know what we're quoting at this point. Jockle, action figure with removable Crocs. Oh man, that would be so fun. That would be so fun. I love the idea of an action figure wearing Crocs. Warms the heart. What a great role model for children to say, don't give them your DNA. They already have my DNA. I already gave out my DNA. It's out there. People have it. There's nothing I can do about it. We're coming up almost 4 minutes from the 2-hour mark. We've been doing this for quite a while. Evading poisonous foods like cherry seeds. I think cherry seeds are okay. I've never seen a warning on the cherry seeds before, so. I haven't seen that Gnostic antinatalist guy in your comments. Oh, he's still around, Mr. Maldoror. He's still around. He was complaining that I was complaining about how he was complaining, and he was saying that complaining about how he was complaining was not going to help him complain less. Those women you interviewed got plenty of your DNA. I did a DNA test, and it was all one ethnicity. Kind of disappointed. Wow. I don't know what to say. He already gave his DNA to his audience. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know. I'm constantly shedding my DNA, My DNA's everywhere. Real men are Bundauers. Oh, man. Gene K. I think Gene K is Chloe. I think they're all the same person. I've never heard of such a pure DNA test result, LOL. Yeah, me either. Me either. We love a schizophrenic or two. Maybe the ones who create content. I like schizophrenics who create content. I don't like schizophrenics who just post comments. Actually, those are my least favorite schizophrenics. I like the ones who make music and videos and do commentary and paintings. Those are the kind of schizophrenics that I like. But are comments content? No, comments are not content. Not at all, my friend. Every time you leave a comment, it's actually bad. Don't leave comments. DNA results say Ken is Armenian Albanian. Yeah, you can leave one comment per video, and the comment should be a timestamp and a one-word description. Jocko, would you be down to go to a haunted location? Gibson, you have sent me like 10 different locations you want me to go to in the past 24 hours, and they're all like tangential, or what's the word? They're all tenuous. You keep throwing out ideas, and I'm not sure if any of those ideas are real at this point. Comments are content. Comments are the new vanguard of artistic production. Disagree strongly, but in terms of this question of a haunted, like, I'm down for a lot of things, Gibson, but I have work in the mornings and I have driving, and you don't have hosting. You're just telling me, oh, park in a garage, park in a parking lot, and these people are available on Friday and these people are not available on Saturday, and it's really confusing, Gibson. I don't know if I can handle all that stuff you got going on there. We'll have to agree to disagree. We're agreeing to disagree. Would you be down to go to a haunted location? It's not haunted yet, but it will be after you're gone. That's funny. That's a good one. You got to check your Telegram. I think I did. I think I did check my Telegram 2 hours ago, but I haven't really checked my Telegram during the live stream, so yeah, I don't know what you sent me recently, but we're trying to find some connections because Tennessee is a long state. Live chat is the wellspring of civilizations. Um, Tennessee's a long state, and we're trying to get to other states, and we're trying to make our way like from Tennessee to other states, and it's just so far. I wish I had more people who are just like, oh sweet, I'll write down these coordinates. I wish I had more people. I am the live chat played of Not Gonna Lie, Bruh, or Socrates. I'm based. Yeah, probably more like Socrates than Plato. Um, so I wish I had more people who were just kind of like, oh yeah, you can stay in my driveway whenever, or actually, the best situation would be like, yeah, you can sleep on the floor whenever. Hunt ghost and Wendigos. An even better situation would be, oh yeah, you can sleep in my guest bedroom whenever. But even better than that, you can sleep in my. Apparently, the coordinates are in China. That's cool. North America's haunted land. The best would be you can sleep on my couch. I think couches are superior to beds for the most part. I've slept on some very comfortable couches in my time. So yeah, the best would be you can drop in whenever, the spare keys under the mat, and sleep on the couch in the living room. That's my ideal situation. You don't have to tell me when you're coming. Just sort of pop in the middle of the night randomly, start yelling. No, I would never do that. But isn't it funny to think about? Wow. Imagine. Just imagine. I don't want to give people nightmares here, but you can really get crazy with these ideas. I have a fantasy of being a ghost and wandering through rich people's houses and reading their books and their bookcases. And I don't want to watch the people. I don't really care about the people. I just want to see the architecture. Maybe do a ghost photo shoot. I guess this is what like realtors do. They show different houses, but yeah, I'd kind of like to be a ghost. Maybe that's what I should do. I should become a ghost. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I would be a ghost? Do I look kind of like spooky? Do I look spooky like a ghost? I think I'd make a great ghost. I wouldn't haunt people. I would just kind of like check out the architecture, check out their books. No. Wow, Bruce, very harsh. Very harsh on my dreams of becoming a ghost. You know what? Thank you, Rav Negutin. Thank you for the encouragement. I will go for it. I will become a ghost. And all of you who say that I can't become a ghost, you know, I'm not going to let you get in the way of my dreams. If I want to be a ghost, I'm going to be a ghost. It's not for me. Hinduism states ghosts are like 80% passive, 20% evil. I would be a good ghost. Would you be transparent or with the sheets? There are no good ghosts. That's so not true. What about Casper? I would be a friendly ghost. I just want to read your books and chill out and like admire your water fountains. Maybe not yours, but some I just want to like go into really rich, fancy people's houses and just wander around. This is what I've been doing some spelunking around different places in the country. Juices for irritable bowel syndrome. I don't know, bro. I don't know. You seem to have a lot of problems, Gene. Boo. Yes, exactly. I would not say boo. I would not scare people though. But that's how I would talk to my fellow ghosts in ghost language. I would say, woo, 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 Ooh, that's how ghosts talk to each other. I'll invite you to one of my many mansions. That would be pretty cool if you actually did that in real life and it wasn't a joke. That would be cool. I want to be an annoying roommate ghost that leaves hair in the drain and eats your leftovers. Actually, that would be cool. If I was a ghost that could enjoy food, I know that ghosts are not supposed to eat food, but if I was a ghost and I could, like, I just want to have one of everything. I want to go in the store and I want to, like, try one bite of a chocolate bar and one bite of a banana and one bite of an orange and one bite of what other good things have we tried? One bite of chicken, one bite of ice cream. I don't want to eat the whole thing. I don't want to sit down and eat the whole thing. I just want a little taste of every single thing in the store. I want to taste test every single item in the store. This would be a who's that guy, Mr. Beast? If I had as much money as Mr. Beast, I would just go around the store. I would buy everything. What's more dangerous, a ghost or an alien? Probably an alien. I think ghosts are harmless. People around here don't take kindly to ghosts dining and dashing a succulent Chinese meal. They ghost. Yeah, ghost. Oh, that's interesting. You should join Mr. Beast crew. Yeah, people don't want to hang with me. They think my associations are too controversial. It's very sad. And I heard from the closet in a woeful whisper, beware the tripartite glass system. Ooh. That's basically what I am already. Aliens are real. Obama said it. Yeah, it's true. Um, the I am a ghost. Like, if you haven't met me in real life, I might as well be a ghost. I might as well be a figment of your imagination with no body. I'm just a spectral apparition. I am a I am a phantasm of your mind. I'm not real. I'm not real until you meet me. Until then, I'm just a ghost. I'm a disembodied voice in your phone, in your computer. Can aliens become ghosts? If so, would an alien ghost be more dangerous than a human ghost? No, I think ghosts are less dangerous than alien ghosts. Cayman's pilled. I am Cayman's pilled. Michael is very busy. He has not been able to meet with me. It's very sad. But that's just the way it is. Maybe someday, maybe in August, I can meet with Michael. But until then, no Michael. Jockle memes are so esoteric. We truly are the aristocrats of our time. I don't know, Gene. I actually don't know about that. I don't know if that's true. Ghosts only affect sensitive people. I'm pretty sensitive. I don't feel very affected by ghosts. I feel pretty unaffected by ghosts. I feel like my life has not been made much better or worse because of ghosts. What life can becomes ghost? Bacteria? Bacteria ghost? I mean, morphogenetic fields, I guess. If there's bacteria, you could have a field of ghost bacteria, right? But let me think about something that's being said here. Ghosts affect sensitive people. Oh, I was gonna say I could play Minecraft if I had a computer right now. If I had a desktop computer, I could play Minecraft. Electron. Yes, electrons. Remember that? Remember when I used to play Ghost Particle Minecraft? I used to play that on the D Live, and we would create worlds, and we would die in the worlds. It was a crazy time. I've never had any paranormal experiences. Yes, well, I think that's okay. You don't need to have paranormal experiences. It's not necessary. How does one get a paranormal experience? I think by doing spooky stuff. Let's see what happens if I change. Oh, now I'm so much brighter. What if I choose bubbles? Whoa. I didn't know I could do that. I remember D Live, Glycine. Yeah, I think you go to Spooky Place. Is that website totally dead now? Probably. Because I'm not on it. It's probably dead. This is a warm filter. It's called Pop. How about this one? This one's called Crush. This one's called Glow. I don't like that. I like Pop. Yeah, I think Pop, it's between Pop and Beam. Which is better, Pop or Beam? I think Pop is a sort of a softer, a warm type, a warm filter. Let's see. You can save highlights. You can mute microphone. You can share. Someone should share this to the Jockle group chat because I don't think everyone gets notifications on YouTube. Bubbles are my favorite. Chess stream. Yeah, I remember when we could do chess streaming. Damn son, you poppin'. Thank you. Yeah, I could do a chess stream. I could try to do a screen recording live stream. I think you could do that in Streamlabs. Are you planning on getting cornrows on your chin? Not really. I mean, I could twist the beard to create mini separate beards. A little separate beard action. But we're not quite there yet. Right now, it's growing straight out, straight down. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to grow a beard. I haven't had it this long in a year, and it's kind of strange. Mr. Yagami is back. Go to the library, put your phone down, and record the stream playing chess. So Buddhist Hungry Ghost, do it now. Mine Scooby-Doo, Ghastly is okay. I got a Raging Pull, Terrorgeist, Zeitgeist, Ghost of Mississippi, Holy Ghost in a Shell, Spelunking, that's more like KVP's fun. So Buddhist Hungry Ghost, do it now. Mind Scooby-Doo, Ghastly is okay. I got a Raging Poltergeist, Zeitgeist, Ghost of Mississippi, Holy Ghost, Ghost in the Shell. That was the one that was interesting. Spelunking, that's more like Cave Beast fun. Yeah, we've got George Orwell. We've got Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex. That was an interesting show. It's very complicated. I remember being introduced to teenage girls who liked Ghost in the Shell when I was but a small lad, when I was but a small child, and I was drawing clouds, and I was thinking about the meaning of anime and why these women, why these young ladies were so into Ghost in the Shell. I was asking what's going on here, and I remember the theme song to Ghost in the Shell. It's like opera. It's like la 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 da 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 da. It's a good song. I should probably listen to that, get some nostalgia, watch Ghost in the Shell. Probably not watch it, but maybe just listen to the song. We could do an analysis of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. We could watch a lot of anime. I'd do it if someone would do it with me. I can't do anything by myself. I need help. Jockle assistant combing the Jockle beard. Well, I think I can comb my own beard, but a Jockle assistant would be nice. Nobody wants to be the Jockle assistant. Wonder what you were going to say about Connor Murphy before you picked up that Mormon Chad. Just that no one cares about mental illness if you're poor. And if you have 2.8 million subscribers, now everyone cares. But it's just an interesting contradiction. I think Connor Murphy has the right to be crazy if he wants to. And I think that we should focus more on poor people who need mental help. And mostly that's because of drug addictions that people become homeless. I'll grow a big beard of so epic proportions that no muzzle will hold it. Ghost in the Shell is cool. Aeon Flux was similar. Never saw that. That's a man's show you could have linked with those girls. I don't know what that means. The meaning of anime. New video idea. Yeah, well, I'll be the... Nah, you won't be the Jockle assistant, Bruce, because you won't meet me. So that means you can't... You cannot be the Jockle assistant if you don't meet me. So that's not going to work out. Isn't this neat? Isn't this a neat little gift that I've been given here? Sorry, this is just cool. This is like a cool... It's a cool thing. Yeah, I know, isn't it? I was just doing some of these. Do you ever stretch your neck like that where you do like a neck contraction? Feels good. It feels good, man, to just contract the neck sometimes. We're at 2 hours and 14 minutes. Quite a journey we've been on here. Quite a long time that we've been sticking together. Oh my goodness, it's already that time of day. It's already getting quite late. We have a small amount of time left. So I think I've pretty much exhausted the ideology of friendship. Murphy wrote a book called Basically Lose. Doesn't want to be associated with a Jockalite. Well, I didn't say he doesn't want to be associated with me. He doesn't want to be associated with people I'm associated with. What are you doing this evening, Ken? Well, I guess if you message me, if you follow and mention me on Twitter, you could find out. Um, Jocko, what is your favorite country? Um, I am going to say America, but I'm also going to say that there's other cool countries, and there's a lot of cool countries, and we like a lot of countries. We'd love to visit different countries, but we need to get a passport. I haven't. Okay, well, you need to make a new Twitter, Bruce. You need to get a Google Voice number and make a new Twitter account. Doesn't take that long, so you gotta go do that. Um, what else? What's the deal with that thumbnail? I don't know, man, because the live stream thing was like you should take a thumbnail for this video, and I was like, okay. And then I just chose a random image from the image roll. Permaband. Well, get a Google Voice number, get a burner phone, and then you can get back on there. So you don't need to wallow in your permaban. You can be free of your ban. Just get creative. Potatoes, tomatoes. He slighted Jockle. Banned beyond all recognition. Well, that's a lie. When you update the thumbnails of your old videos, they appear in my recommended. Oh, that's cool. I should probably do that more often, shouldn't I? I should have some people help me. I was going to pay a dude to make thumbnails. I was going to pay him $10 or $15 per thumbnail. But then he was like, oh, let's use PayPal. And then I was like, oh, do you have crypto? And he's like, no. And then so we kind of went around in circles, didn't resolve that. I should probably just get on PayPal, but then someone was like, oh, go to privacy.com and you can create a fake debit card and then you can go on PayPal. And then I was like, I'll try that. And then it wasn't linking to my bank account. And then my bank account was using a phone number that I was not sending me a text message. So I tried a different phone number, but it wouldn't let me change it in my bank account. And there were all kinds of problems. I was just like, I want to send a dude $15. Why is it this hard? Um, yeah, Bruce, I don't like being banned. This is not a cult. We're just chilling. Um, it's kind of crazy, though. If Jockle was a cult, who would be the leader? I mean, if Jockle, you're saying if this channel was a cult, who would be the leader of this channel? Probably the guy who made the channel. Yeah, Venmo. He's not in the country though, Gibson. That's the problem. I don't know if Venmo works like that. So, Orgy Orgison says that he would be the leader of the Jockle cult. I don't know who you are, Orgy. You're quite a. Bruce will be the leader. Bruce will be the leader of the cults. Okay, Bruce. All these people stepping up to be leaders, but not stepping up for the road trip. Kind of sus, though. Kind of. As I'm unqualified for the assistant position. Yeah, I'm not qualified to be like a janitor, so I'm gonna have to be the CEO. That's how it works. You go into the job interview, they're like, so how are you qualified for this position? Well, actually, let me tell you how I'm not qualified for the other positions. Jay on Telegram. Don't know what that means, but you can message me on Twitter at JOKKULL. Jockle Junta. Yeah, that's alliterative. Okay. No one's going to do illegal activity. No. You've gone too far. You have gone too far. Um, And janitors know a lot of useful stuff. That's true. Janitors do know a lot of useful stuff. We're thankful to our janitors. Let's see here. There's 15 more minutes. I think we might cut it short. I don't think there's much else to do. When I start banning people, I think, yeah, I am the janitor of the stream. I think when I start banning people, that means the stream is over. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.